So let's be real for a second. If you've ever driven in Texas, you know there's the way you're supposed to drive, and then there's what actually happens out there on the highway. Today, we're going to put the official rulebook right up against the high-speed, tailgating reality to figure out where is the disconnect. And you know what? The answer might just start with one single, kind of shocking number. Okay, here it is, the number 2. What in the world do you think this represents for drivers in the Lone Star State? Go on, take a guess. I'll give you a hint. It is definitely not a silver medal for good driving. And there you have it. Turns out a recent analysis ranked Texas drivers as the second worst in the entire country. Whew, it's a pretty startling statistic, right? And that's exactly why we're here today, to unpack the data behind that number and see how it matches up, or, doesn't match up, with the official rules of the road. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll dig into the data that gave Texas that not-so-great ranking. Then we're going to crack open the official rulebook and look at the ideal driving world. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of what's really causing the problems, before we shift over to how we can all drive safer. And finally, we're going to put you in the driver's seat. All right, first things first. How on earth does a state earn the title of having the second worst drivers? Let's take a look at the actual data. So this report from Easton Law Offices shows the, let's call it company, Texas is keeping. It is sandwiched right there between Florida at number 1 and California at number 3 for the worst drivers. This analysis looked at pretty much everything, fatal crashes, speeding tickets, you name it, and the results, well, they paint a pretty clear picture for the Lone Star State. Okay, so we've seen the problem in the data. Now, let's just completely switch gears for a minute and look at the solution, or at least the perfect world of driving that the state itself lays out for us. And for this part of our journey, our guide is the Texas Driver's Handbook. This little book is the official source for every single rule of the road. It's basically the blueprint that's designed to keep traffic moving safely and, just as importantly, predictably for everyone. And really, at the heart of this whole system is one simple idea: right-of-way. It's not about who gets to go first out of aggression or speed. It's about a predictable, legal order that's supposed to prevent total chaos. When this one concept gets ignored, well, that's when intersections and merges turn into a complete free-for-all. And here are 2 of the most critical life-or-death right-of-way rules straight from the handbook. On the left, you see you have to pull over and yield to emergency vehicles. No exceptions. And on the right, traffic in both directions has to stop for a school bus with its red lights flashing. It's so important to remember. These aren't just polite suggestions. They are literal, life-saving laws. So how does this system communicate with us? Well, if right-of-way is the grammar of driving, then road signs are the vocabulary. They are the road's way of talking directly to you, telling you what's coming up ahead and what you are required to do. The handbook actually splits signs into different groups. First up, you've got your warning signs. They're usually yellow and diamond-shaped, just like these. They aren't telling you what to do, but they are giving you a super critical heads up. A winding road sign, that's your cue to maybe ease off the gas. Road narrows, that means get ready to merge. But then you have regulatory signs, and you've got to know the difference. These are not suggestions, they are commands, backed by the law. A school speed limit sign is non-negotiable when that light is flashing. And right lane must turn right is a directive you are legally required to follow. Simple as that. The handbook even gets specific about speed limits, breaking them into 2 main types. So think of prima facie limits as the default setting, like 30 miles per hour in a neighborhood, even if you don't see a sign. But when you see a posted speed limit on a white sign, that's absolute. It overrides everything else. That number, that's the law. Okay, so the handbook lays out this really clear, orderly, safe system. It all makes sense, right? But now, let's slam on the brakes and get back to the harsh reality. If the rules are this clear, why are Texas drivers ranked so poorly? Well, the report points to a few major reasons for that number 2 ranking, and it's pretty sobering. A high rate of deadly accidents caused by aggressive driving, a shocking number of road rage incidents, tons of speeding violations, and a really high rate of deaths among motorcyclists who aren't wearing helmets. And just look at this number from the report. Aggressive and careless driving isn't just annoying, it's a factor in nearly 40% of all traffic deaths in the state. I mean, wow, that's the real tragic cost when the rules in the handbook get ignored. Let's look at a classic example of this clash between the rules and reality. We all know this one. The handbook is crystal clear. The left lane on a big highway is for passing slower traffic. That's it. You move over, you pass, you move back. Simple, right? But in reality, what happens? Someone decides to just camp out in that left lane, and it becomes a massive trigger for aggression. And the data shows it. 2.5 road rage incidents for every 100,000 people. So much of that anger starts with breaking this one simple rule. This right here is the gap between the handbook and the highway in action. Okay, I know, it all seems pretty bleak, but here's the good news. The very same handbook that lays out all the rules also gives us the tools to navigate the aggressive reality on the road and actually bridge that gap. Look, you can't control what other drivers do, but you can absolutely control how you react. The handbook itself gives these really practical tips to de-escalate. Plan ahead so you're not so stressed. Try to just relax if you're stuck in traffic. Use a light tap of the horn instead of a long blast. And maybe the most important one, never ever confront an angry driver. Your safety is what matters. And beyond just dealing with angry people, the handbook reminds us of the basic habits that save lives every single day. Number 1, just wear your safety belt. 2, keep a safe following distance. That 2-second rule is your best friend out there. And 3, be courteous and safe with your high beams. It's simple stuff, but it makes a huge, huge difference. And that brings us to the end of our trip, and to the single most important person in this entire equation. You, the driver. When you really get down to it, it boils down to a choice, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the rules, all designed for our collective safety. And on the other side, you have these grim statistics that show what happens when those rules get thrown out the window. Every time you start your car, you're choosing which side you're on. So we'll leave you with this question. We've seen the handbook, the guide for safe driving, and we've seen the data that ranks Texas drivers as second worst in the nation. Knowing that massive gap between the two, what is one single thing you will change about how you drive to help close it?